Hi, this is Nir from PolypopLive, and in this short video, you will learn how to let your viewers spin your webcam screen like this. So let's start. The first thing we'll need to do is add a 3D screen to our scene, so that our viewers will have an object they can spin. To do that, we will click on the plus button in the scene layout panel, choose the 3D objects category, scroll down, and now we can pick one of the many screens Polypop offers us. For this video, let's choose the Hexagon 2 screen by double-clicking on it. Polypop will now ask us to choose a texture to the screen we just picked. Because we're going to use the 3D screen as our camera screen, we will choose our webcam as a texture and click OK. We can see that the 3D screen we just added is now located in the center of our canvas, and a new 3D layer was added to the scene layout panel. We can rename the layer by double-clicking on the layer in the scene layout panel, so let's do that and call it webcam. Selecting the 3D layers in the scene layout panel will show us its properties. At the very bottom of the properties section we have the layer transform values. So let's expand it by clicking on this little triangle. And here we can resize our 3D screen by changing the scale value. And we can also move the screen in space by changing the position X, Y, and Z values. X will move it left and right, Y up and down, and Z upwards and backwards. But I find it easier move it around just using the mouse, and remember, you can use the mouse wheel to move it on the Z axis, like this. If we want, we can also add rotation to our screen by changing the rotation values in the transform window. Okay, so now let's see how we can make our screen spin. To do that, we will again look at our 3D screen properties, so make sure its layer is still selected. Now let's click on the plus button next to the mod line. We can see in the drop-down menu there are quite a few mods to choose from, but for this tutorial and in order to spin our screen, let's select the Spin Action mod. A spin mod was added to our properties. Clicking on the spin button will show us what the default spin looks like. And there you go. If you want, you can play with the spin mod properties and change the length of the spin, the rotation angle, the animation style, and I encourage you to play with these properties and tweak them to something you like. But for this tutorial, let's keep it simple and use the default settings. Now, all that's left to do is decide what alert will make our screen spin, meaning what our viewers will need to do in order to make it spin. Now, because Polypop gives us the option to connect any alert we want to anything on our scene, we can decide it will be a YouTube donation alert, or a chat alert, or a super chat alert, or it can be a Twitch chat alert, or a channel point redemption, or a cheer alert, or... You get the point, it can be anything. So let's see how to do that. First, we'll open the library by clicking the Open Library button on the bottom left, and then click on the plus button in the library panel, and from the drop-down menu we will either choose the Twitch alerts, YouTube alerts, or both. I already did that, and you can see I have both YouTube and Twitch alerts. But before selecting one of them, make sure Polypop is connected to your YouTube or Twitch accounts. This is a very easy process that involves only a few clicks, and I will put a link that will show you how to do that in the description below. So now we just need to decide what our viewers need to do in order to make the screen spin. So let's say a YouTube $1 donation is what we're looking for. For that, in the library panel, we will select our YouTube alerts, expand the alerts option, then the money menu, set the amount we want them to donate in order to spin our screen. The default is $1, so we can leave it as is. And now I will show you two ways to make the alert spin the screen. The easy way and the smart way. The easy way is indeed very easy. All you need to do is pull a wire from the on money granted socket and pull it all the way to the flashing spin socket of your screen. And that's it. You can test it by clicking the test button on the alert, and we can see that indeed whenever someone donates $1, the screen will spin. And that's it, you basically now know how to spin your screen. Now let's learn how to do it the smart way, which is more modular and can give us many more options. So first, let's disconnect the wire we just pulled by pulling the edge out and releasing it. Now again, with our mouse, let's pull a wire from the on money granted socket, but instead of connecting it to the spin socket like before, we're going to connect it to the action sequence socket that appeared in the center of the canvas. Let's do it again, because I want to show you that the action sequence only appears whenever we pull a wire from a socket. So let's connect it. We can give the action sequence a name by double-clicking it and typing a name. Now let's click on the plus button in the action sequence window, and from the drop-down menu we will choose Emit Alert. We can name it by double-clicking it. And now, just like before, we can pull a wire from this alert and attach it to the spin flashing socket of our screen. Clicking on the test button will show us that the alert is working. Now, the reason I recommend this method is that because our alert is now connected to an action sequence, if we want, we can add more alerts to the sequence to create a more interesting alert. So for example, I took a short break and I added some more alerts, and clicking on the test button will show us that the alert is now bringing a thank you text and emit some particles. So before we end this tutorial, I just want to show you how easy it is to assign the action sequence we created to another alert. So let's say we want this alert to be triggered also in our Twitch stream. To do that, we will click on the Twitch alert in our library panel, decide which alert will trigger the action sequence. So let's say it's gonna be a bit donation. Pull a wire from the on bits gain socket and attach it to the action sequence we already created. Clicking on the test button will show us that whenever someone will donate 500 bits, the same alert will be triggered. So that's it. You now know how to let your viewers spin your 3D screen. And you can now decide what your viewers need to do in order to make that spin happen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.